Any questions before I start?
Yes.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Psychic. That is happening. Anybody else coming in? Come on in. Take a seat. Yes. Yeah.
Do you need one of the full body video?
No. Essentially, with the video card processing, it's only OpenGL for the display, but the rendering is all CPU based. Welcome. Come in. Nice hat. I know if you sit there, I think you can block more people. All right. So, another nice hat. Come in. Welcome. As you do. Welcome. Come in. Sit down. Thank you. Are we all here?
I think so.
That's a good question. Yeah, okay. For those who are arriving late, I'm making this. Essentially, this is one of the most simple scenes you can create. Distant mountain with trees on it. Same sort of texture applied to the bottom mountain and a cloud. Okay, starting with this. This is the basic studio setup. Who here has not used any 3D studios before? Up the back. Fantastic. So, I'm going to run through the basics of 3D. Alright, you've got your side, your front and your top views. Those represent your three different planes. And of course, you've got your main camera view here. Alright. All your camera controls are located on the side over here. So you've got your rotates and your translates and your zooms and pans. Up there. Resetting camera. Come on, where is it? Start off with you create. I like to use procedural terrains because it's using less polygons than normal, but you get a much higher detail. So what you can do is you can bring in that. This will bring in an absolutely huge terrain, and you can frame selected objects. There we go. Zoom out. Oops. Undo that. There we go. So, just ignoring the fact that it's all lines, that's because my graphics card isn't as good as the one that I've got at home. But as you can see, you've got lower density. Your camera's over here. You've got lower quality over here and higher quality towards the camera. That's basically procedural. It's built as the camera flies through. What you can do with that is you can go in and you can double click on it, and that brings up hang on, hopefully it's a brush editor. That brings up the terrain editor. As you can see, you can brush around, make the terrain whatever you want. And undo that for some reason. Where is it? Where's the undo brush? Somewhere around here. Yeah. Easiest way to do that, just hit X. There we go. So, the way that I'm going to do this is just use a couple of the preset ones. So you've got Peak Mountain, which creates as you can see, hang on, where is it? Alt? There we go. A nice mountain peak. There. This is the zero edges. I'll be going into that a little bit later, but for the base mountain in the back, that's basically the shape you're wanting. You can keep clicking on it to get different shapes if you want. If you don't like it, it just keeps generating them. Actually, that's a pretty sweet looking one. Yeah. Welcome. Take a seat. And you just click OK. Now, as you can see in your preview, that's been updated, and you can pick your angle that you like best. Now, for this, you can then scroll this back out, move this further away, and then just use your little gizmos on the side to scale out. That can make it slightly bigger. closer in, because that's the area you're kind of wanting to look at, and pan down. Basically what I'm doing at the moment is setting which camera angle I'm wanting to use. And that's kind of it. Because I'm wanting to have this sort of looking up at a huge mountain, that's the idea I'm getting. And then you can scale in any direction you wish to make it look however you want. There we go. Now for the front image, for the front image here, that's actually a separate terrain altogether. So you've got the back one there that I've just done, and the front one in here. Same thing, just go back into your procedural terrain, move it into view, and double click. Now, as I said before, you've got your zero edges, turn those off, and now you've got... Yeah, basically, it's the same thing. It's just crinkled paper, spread it out again, and that's your terrain. And if you just keep hitting mountain, you can just cycle through if you don't like something, or you can go plateau, you know, you get dunes, and even iceberg, which just cuts off the top. But I'm wanting mountain. So, that's a good one. But I'm wanting this really close to the camera, so I'm going to scale this right down. And frame selected objects, and then move that in. There we go, right click. Just so you know, if I'm a little bit rusty on this, it's because VUE uses a completely different tool set to any of the standard programs like Maya. So you're going to have to readjust every time you use it in order to actually make sure that you're keeping up to date. And, okay, in order to get it slightly flatter, you can get a nice, even, sort of gently undulating hill look. Now, let's rotate this to fit. And moving this up in Z. Now I'll show you all, frame all. This is movie cheating, basically. You've got your main background and your foreground, which is moved to make it look like it doesn't actually, that it, you know, with the same texture, it's, you know, essentially the same point of land. And all films will do this, to have like a background plate as well as a foreground object as well. So, well, all movies will do this in some form or another. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? Now, the second part of this is, of course, the trees. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, that's a lot of trees. That is a heck of a lot of trees. In fact, that's around about 13 million trees. Trees in VUE, you do not have to... This is the brilliant thing about it. This is what makes it such a powerful program, is that you don't have to put every tree in individually. Procedural textures are what it's automatically populated by the program itself. Anybody got any questions on that? Fantastic. Yes.
Do you like make more or try to get some more of your own design or something like that?
Yeah, of course. They've got a plant editor in it. So whilst Eon doesn't like you to, won't allow you to create your own unique species from base models, they will allow you to edit their own species or buy more from their store. Essentially, I mean, I'm just going to, for this purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to give you the default one rather than create my own texture. But essentially, this is what it does. Now, you get given three options. Dynamic ecosystem will only populate what's in front of the camera. This is fantastic if you've got a very, very large open scene and you don't want to have terribly much in the way of resources being used up by trees that are off camera. but not very good if you're wanting to save on render time, because it has to calculate how many trees are in front of the camera at all times. So you can add your... take a seat, guys. So you can add your renders in, and it will keep calculating constantly, and you can get times as well as, I think, longest I had was around about 3 days per frame. And that's how I melted my first laptop. What I'm going to do is just going to populate the ecosystem with a standard. So as you can see down the bottom, it's got the time remaining on the ecosystem being brought out. Obviously, with a faster computer, you're going to have a faster load time, and with more RAM in your computer, you're going to have more trees. As you can see, I've just almost pretty much run out of RAM, but let's see whether it does it anyway. As you could, as a frame of reference, my computer at home has 24 gigs of RAM, and yes, I use it all. A crap load of trees. So as you can see, I've actually used about half of my, just populating that, I've used about half of my resources. And it's also, there we go. It has a, let's see, should open up a poly count down the bottom. Come on. There we go. Poly count, there we go. It's going to take a second to work it out. There we go, 9 billion polygons. But that being said, if you try to render this out in Maya, it would crash at around about maybe, take off the first 4 digits on that, and that will crash it. So it's a very, very powerful software. This is just on an i5 processor, and it's having a bit of a struggle, but it's at least getting through it.
How does it do on a 2.4 dual core? Terribly.
You might be able to do that. You might be able to do the highlighted terrain in the front, but I wouldn't try doing the mountain in the back. Essentially, you just put the same texture on the front one. Now, yes?
Just a question. If you're using a system with limited resources and you're trying to do this kind of rendering, would dynamic ecosystems be the solution there?
Yes. Yeah. Yes?
So would a quad core with 6 gigabytes of RAM die if I tried to run it?
No.
Yay!
I'll show you. This is just the default. I'm going to be editing up this ecosystem a little bit to show you how to reduce the amounts. Is that a question up the back? Just stretching? Fantastic. All right. And let's have a look. Awesome. Now, with all this, you've got, okay, as you can see, you probably can't really see that much all at the back, but let's try rendering out a very, very small screen. Control F9 and render the screen. That'll do it. And photo vertical. That's what I want. See whether we can actually do this. Constantly, whenever you're using this program, always test render. Always test render. Otherwise, you're going to spend ages and ages of hours work. Fantastic. It actually did render it. I was surprised about that. But I'm not sure if you can see that. I mean, I can barely see that. But you can see that it's very, very small. It looks almost like grass rather than actual trees. Now, in order to fix that, what we do, if we go into the material editor, hopefully that didn't crash it. There we go. And you make the trees bigger. Sliders. Everything is done by sliders. Clear the population. So what I've done is just made the trees, I think, around about 6 times the size. And of course, with the larger trees, there's less space for them, so you get lower populations. See ya. See, instead of having 6,000, you now have 9.
It is 9 trees. Not over just yet.
9 trees, yep, that's right. But
But you still have 5.6 million
pretty much.
Render it.
Just a second, I'll fix up the back mountain as well. With any luck.
Are we going to watch the world?
You might watch my laptop burn.
I have a half gig of RAM 98 from 4 terminal. Would that work?
Would you like to see me put a brick in a washing machine?
When I'm talking about RAM here, guys, I'm actually not talking about video RAM at all. It's actual physical system RAM, because video RAM only deals with the OpenGL display here.
Is that the RAM that you actually put in the motherboard itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's the one that you can just basically buy a new stick and upgrade it.
That's really, really cheap. I bought my stock 4 gigs to the other.
I would heavily suggest those who want to use this to do it on the 64-bit version, because you just can't get the same amount. New copy of Windows? Alright guys, calm down, calm down. Alright, there we go. Fantastic. Now, as you can see, we're down to 4 million polygons. That's much better.
It's actually now going, okay, how can we handle this?
I mean, this is a much... I mean, a lot of this is all tweaked. Okay, guys, settle. Let's have a look. I think I might need to tweak this one in the front slightly. It's a little bit too big. So let's turn that scaling down a bit to about 2.5. There we go, 51. There we go, nice. It also has ways of dealing with it, like you can change everything to wireframe as well. Just going to move this in manually. Alright, what I'm doing is just trying to set up that one scene. There we go, now we got it. And keep forgetting that that's not the keyboard. Render. That's looking better. I think I might need a bigger render size to show you guys. There we go. Alright, a lot of working with VUE is just test render, then tweak, test render, then tweak, test render, and it's just the same process over and over again until you get something that you like. Once you do, you just leave it basically and just hope that it doesn't die. Clear. See, test render, then tweak. The idea is you're wanting it to be as close to nature as possible, and nature is infinitely complex, so you can't really get that on a computer.
You can try.
You can try, but you can't really get that, so you just try to, oh, whoops. Wrong one. Okay. Go to the other one, and bring that down slightly. 1,000. Yeah, bring that down. There we go, 2,000, nearly 3,000 polygon. So that is actually the physical number of trees in the scene. As you can see, I'm now at 34 million polygons. And looking up, there we go. Now, go to render, test render, then tweak. So now you've got some trees in the foreground. As you can see, there's got the little logo down there, and you've also got all your little post-production stuff. Pardon? What? Ah, yeah, okay. Thanks for that.
What would be the minimum graph required to release something like this?
I think as far as system requirements are concerned, I think they suggest 2 gig. But I would go with at least 4. Just personally, I would go with 4. The way to fix the little issue is just try and tweak the landscape so it looks, so you can actually reveal the mountain behind it. Either that or make the mountain behind it bigger, but I don't exactly want to be putting more trees in. Around about, I've got around about just over 3,000. Alright. So you just move that closer in so you can see it, and then drop it down. There we go. And now, render options. Let's bring this up to a little bit bigger. I'll be getting the atmosphere a little bit later. There we go.
That's a nice looking sky.
That's a nice looking watermark, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
There's no clouds yet. Now, it keeps trying to render all those trees. So remember, we've got 38 million polygons in this scene, so it's going to take a little while to render.
Just a little bit.
And whilst we are, any questions so far?
What's the price point of the software?
It starts off, there are free ones, but it starts off at around about, for educational licenses, for like the lower end versions of it, it starts off around, oh, I think it's about between 250, but the one that I use at home is, that's the full professional one, commercial license, and that's 1,500. So as far as 3D programs are concerned, it's actually one of the cheaper ones. Whereas, you know, you've got like Maya and stuff where a full commercial license will cost you in the vicinity of around 20 grand. So, if you're getting one for free, I'd personally go with I'd go for the Infinite and get it as a trial edition. Because that's got everything loaded. The Extreme Edition also has... Guys! The Extreme Edition also allows you to have a plugin to integrate with other 3D applications, such as Maya or Lightwave or Max, or whichever one you prefer. I think even Cinema 4D is an option. Yep.
Is where can you find those free versions, like the non-commercial versions?
Alright, you can get them from Eon's website, so it's eonsoftware.com. Roughly, I think it's not that big. I think it's under 4 gig. So it's actually a really small studio in comparison to a lot. So as you can see, you've got your Frontier. I think is the free version. Oh no, that's $99 for Frontier, and that's a complete one. And you've also got solutions for education. There we go. You know, you've got all your different licenses and that sort of stuff. But as you can see, it's been used in some pretty as you can see. All of this on the sides and in the back is all VUE. It's all 3D. And yay, we're almost done.
I was going to say, just look at me, this would kill my computer.
That was only a 3-minute render. Who wants to know what my longest render time is?
3 days.
For a non-animated render, my longest, it was 96 hours.
Do you have like a separate computer that you could use or something?
Yeah, I've got this one, as well as my main machine at home. Longest I've ever had, even animated, was roughly 3 weeks straight. It was, funnily enough, it was actually a student project I was working on. I was doing a full through. Hey guys, up the back. Give him back his hat. It was a student project I was working on. I did a, it was a meteor that was crashing into the planet. You had trees and rocks and dirt flying everywhere.
Did you have to make a tweak after that, Renison?
Yes.
I'm assuming you want to kill yourself in your right arm.
A lot. I can't remember exactly, but it was a lot. Yes. Got the HD, I was happy. Now, atmospheres. Atmospheres are very, very simple. What you've got is, I like to use what's known as a spectral model. It's the... You guys right up there? Good. It's the most photorealistic. You've got your standard and volumetric models, which can be, I find that they're more game environment type things. So they've got a lot. They're a lot more involved in trying to make the software try and get it in real time. But the spectral modelling is more photoreal for me because you've got all the accent. You can have like full fog and light rays and everything like that. First thing is you can have your light. I'm going to leave it at global ambience because I honestly do not have time in this presentation to run through these. They will triple your render times just by clicking that button. But I have to say, because it actually calculates where all the light bounces, and say if you've got a white wall, and the light hits it, and it will bounce back and illuminate the rocks that are behind it, as well as the rocks illuminating the sand below that.
So it takes more time, but it looks better.
Yes. So if you've got the time and the patience, global radiosity is your way you go. Clouds is what I'm going to be showing you now. A lot of what a VUE has is it's got sort of these, where is it? Clouds. There we go, clouds. So these are all, I mean, the clouds themselves are all, these ones are just basic sort of flat ones. Spectral 2 clouds are full 3D, full volumetric, and they're almost liquid. They also move and change as the animation goes through.
I'm assuming that's sort of like pan, say like down from the start of the reveal the land.
Yeah, I can actually show you one, to be honest. Now, where is it? Minor detail. Show reel. Where is it? Eon software. Alright, so you've got... See, these are all spectral 2 clouds. So you've got all the grass and the trees in the background, all the plants, the mountains. All those trees in the front. And going through that, and I'll just keep scrolling. There we go. That one look familiar? Yeah, all of that. The clouds, all of the trees in this one is all done in VUE.
20.
Yep, all done. Terminator Salvation even had all of that is all VUE. This is the one you're wanting.
Ah, wood.
Oh, come on. That was a bit... So yeah. So that's just your clouds there. What I'm going to be doing is just showing you a couple of the simple ones. You've got stretch cumulus. That's always a fun one to look at. And you've got all your little options. As I said, all in sliders, so you can have your sharpness, your feather, everything, and where is it? Render. There we go. Thank you. And now we wait. Pardon? Pardon? Sorry. Guys? What was that? Oh, the video? Yep. Yeah, those trees, I remember, they look very familiar. Yeah, that's a great example of the clouds. Now. Something that you also got to note is if you're doing animation with this program, all of the trees react dynamically to wind. It's automatically inputted in, so you don't have to key that in.
Is it compatible with the other?
Yes, there are versions that are compatible. The Extreme Edition on the website, which is that one. Pardon? Or you could just import your VUE landscape into Maya. See? Yes?
How do you exactly grade the environment, like the animation?
Essentially, you just kind of... VUE's got a bit of an... It's a bit tricky with trying to integrate it. It has a much larger scene than what you would normally consider as standard units. It's about 6 to 8 times larger than a standard 3D program. So if you're going to integrate any sort of 3D character, make sure your rig is scalable so that you can... for those who aren't aware of what scalable rigs are, it's... guys? It's a way to make sure that your characters can get bigger and smaller regardless of what... Of how complex the way they move is. Certain types of rigs, this basic skeleton that moves an object, will deform the character, like make them look rather strange, like their arms will get bigger and kind of crush the rest of their body because they haven't been made correctly. But if you can make sure that your rig can be scaled, then you shouldn't have any issues, really. That's the only thing. And the same way you can import your characters straight into VUE, or you can use the Extreme plugin and just open up your scene in your favorite 3D program. And oh, look at that, more cloud. But as you can see, we've got the clouds coming in, and I think the top of the mountain should be coming in somewhere there.
Would you be able to show us some of your own experience?
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Maybe a bit of an explanation as to each piece.
Alright, my work is okay, let's have a look. As I was saying, with all those clouds, you've got, everything's going on. This was actually a commissioned wallpaper that I was asked for. Oh you've got the same thing. You've got several different types of mountains with a lot of trees on it, and your sun, which is just basically a light source, and all your different clouds in, and then of course a 3D model that I imported from a different program to just put in the middle there. This one obviously is the one I'm trying to recreate.
Which program did you use for the model?
Maya. This is it's a different technique that I've used here. It's a technique from a website called Quad Spinner by a man named Dax Pundy. It's called hyperterrain, is what he's called it. Essentially, what it is you get a whole bunch of different objects like spheres and a torus, which is essentially a donut, and cylinders and boxes, and you just kind of use what's called a meta blob object. It's essentially a way of getting the program to say that they tie together, like they're covered in a thick paste or some sort of slime, that they just kind of merge into the one thing. And then you just put in this, you put in a what's called a displacement map, which is a black and white picture to create it, to make it all bumpy in that, and then you just put your texture on. That's a favourite of mine. That's basically just a single. That's just a lot of trees, basically. That's all it is. It's just a lot of trees. Not currently. Videos take a long time to render out, so I tend not to do them. But as I said, exactly the same thing. It's just different landscapes. So there's different things and a third terrain in the middle. Where's another one? Pardon? No, snow's actually rather easy. Snow is just basically a texture. In fact, grass is one of the most consuming things, because that's all different polygons that you have to stick up.
In terms of how to move this to make it realistic?
Yeah, realistic snow is actually quite difficult to do, because that's mostly to do with your lighting rather than the actual texture itself. Yeah, that was a fun one. That was just trying to play around with what it looks like under the canopy.
It looks a bit weird, like somebody went over it and painted like this spray can with all like black blotches everywhere.
Yeah. This is exactly the same thing. It's got just basic landscape with a lot of trees on it. The same thing that I've been showing here, and there we go, done. Yay!
A grass tool where you just click.
It's just, yeah, as I was showing earlier on, just with the same ecosystems, you can just import grass, add to all, and it just populates the entire thing with grass. Yes?
Just about urban landscapes, is that also possible?
Yes, it is.
That's obviously a different process to this one?
Slightly different process. What you can do is, it's the same type of thing, but you just got to make, you just basically turn off all your randomization so that it appears in grids. Unless you really, really want just kind of a hectic sort of landscape. But the programming will make sure that none of the objects will actually spawn over the top of another. So it's all going to be separated. There's actually a preset that is an urban landscape. Yes? Water is literally that button there. You click it, and it's just a texture on a plane. That's all it is. So you just click that button and you get instant ocean. Waves are a bit difficult. It's essentially the same thing, but it's just it has no particle effect, so you can't get any spray off it. But it's basically just the water textures are automatically have waves on them. Yes.
Like I saw with the one you had before, where it had the lake over the snow. Do you have to sort of create a separate terrain or make it seem like it's supposed to be there? Or?
You can actually have just a basic terrain, like in this option here. Hang on, what you got? in this option here, you've got, if you click and hold, you'll see you've got all these other options here. That one is what's known as a plane, which is just a two-dimensional object. If you click that, then that creates a space where you can put a water texture over the top of that, and you just fill the area that you need to. You don't actually have to create an ocean. Where's delete? There. Yes.
If you wanted to make it more like a dust, like
More dust?
day dust.
Yeah. Two ways of doing that. First way, move the sun. Hang on. Literally that easy. All the lighting's automatically updated because in your atmosphere settings, you click there, what you've got is decay color. Now decay color is what the sky tints the light closer to the horizon. So if you look out on a sunset, you notice how it's all red, and on a particularly smoggy day, it's even more red than normal. That's essentially it. You can change that decay color to whatever you want, and that will tint the rest of the scene. So if I change that to, say, an iridescent green, and see? Yeah, essentially you can make it look whatever you want. Anybody else? Yes?
Do you do any post-processing of your images?
I try to avoid it because I firmly believe that the program is that powerful and looks that good that it doesn't need it. But yes, a particular one that I will show is, of course, that one. That image kind of did need to have post-processing done to it because obviously you can't get that sort of look in the actual program. But what I did was had just change the tree, the texture of the leaves in the program, and change the color of the sky. So it's essentially the same image, but just then merge the two images in Photoshop. Anybody else? Yes.
I saw that on your blog, I'm sure you had a sort of section for sort of sci-fi fans. Are they done with VUE?
Yeah, all of it's done with VUE, with the exception of the photo manipulation and the vector stuff. All the rest of it's done with VUE.
What would some of the sci-fi fans look like?
Oh, I can show you that. You got this one. Anybody from 2010?
Ask you, is that possibly the hardest thing you've ever made?
No.
How did you get
I did this when I was avoiding exams for Year 12. Yep.
How do you get the creature in?
I used a DAS model. That's the DAS 3D is a relatively cheap 3D model website. It's called Dinoconda, and it's used with a program called Poser.
So you can import 3D models that have been made in other programs into VUE, can you? So
Yes.
frozen scenes.
Yep. Yep.
In the actual view,
Yeah.
the gold ray is ticked off traps, clouds.
Yeah. God rays is what VUE calls those shafts of light that you see around dusk, where you've got where you can actually see the sunbeams. That's what it is. Yes, they will take a while to render, but they look amazing. I'll show you what didn't do that one with God rays, but where is it? This one was literally a test on whether I could do God rays up the top. See?
It actually works well.
That looks really good. That'll make a good desktop.
No, that's what mostly I've done them for. Everything is just like my friends at high school and stuff like that were like, I need a new desktop for my wallpaper. Rick, can you make one? So yeah, that's like lots of pocket money.
That's weird, but you probably make a living on 4chan.
I hope not. But yeah, as you can see, you've got other.
So you do all your natural backgrounds in VUE?
Yes.
What about your commercial cityscapes also?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. There are other programs, of course, that can do that. Like there's some city generation software that can do that sort of stuff. But VUE can handle it all.
Just give it time.
Yeah, just give it time, tweak and re-render. Hopefully, yeah. When I was speaking to the CEO of Eon Software last year, they were indicating, though they couldn't say anything officially, that they were moving towards real-time 3D rendering. So rendering out all these amazing, insane landscapes in real time.
Wasn't there something on the Sapphire VUE that said they were going to do real time?
I think there was, yeah. And they're working. They would be working closely with Eon to do that. That one is there. You go. City. There you go. City landscape. Same thing. Just putting in the buildings in ecosystems and just rendering it out. Yes.
What do you mean by real time?
Like you know how you've got with your games engines and stuff like that. How you look out and you see all these trees and stuff like that, and all the like armies and that fighting around, and you can actually go and interact with them like as it's happening, instead of having to wait for the image to render out like I'm doing here.
So instead of stopping and tweaking and re-rendering,
It would be able to just tweak as it's rendering and be able to have it instantly. And there's another one with the city landscape in the background. Let's have a look. And there's a fun one. That had a lot of post-processing done with it, because it was just fun to work with. And that one also had post-processing. This one's called Newton's Cradle. It was a really, really fun one. I did this one as a birthday present for a friend of mine. Had it printed out, but essentially all I did was just basically create little planets, stick them on metal strings, and have them fly through space. The background itself is something that I actually photographed myself with a camera just pointed at the sky and set it off for 30 seconds. So you can actually import different backgrounds into it. It's called, if you go back in here, it's called environmental mapping. You click on that and you can actually bring in a photo as the background.
So those balls are stationary.
It was the balls there, yes, are stationary, but I did have a very slight animation to get that, get the motion blur on the end. Yep, is that a question? Yes, yeah.
would you be able to provide a space background for that?
Yep, it does have space backgrounds, and it's got sea stars. So you can have actually got a space background there. You just you can turn down the amount of fog and haze and stuff like that to make it look more spacey. Yes.
Do the rainbows look good?
No.
That's disappointing.
I can show you. They look pretty bad.
Can you do a double bow all the way?
Hang on. Let's change that back to a normal. There we go. There we go. Actually, no, that's getting better. Actually, to be honest. Render. I'll turn down the render amount so it doesn't actually take up too much time. Yep, 960 by 1440.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you're using like particularly quick computer for this service?
Yeah, my computer at home is built for this.
What about this one you're using now?
This is just my standard laptop. It's an i5.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many parts is that? How many?
2.3 gigahertz. Oh, look at that. They've actually improved it since last time I've seen it. That's actually a semi-decent rainbow. It does need to be bigger, doesn't it? Unfortunately, I don't think it's got the capability to do double rainbows. It's just not that awesome. But yeah, essentially that's it. As far as the thing is, you've got your atmosphere, you can tweak your sun, you can tweak your sky, you can tweak everything around it. Is that a question?
Has the ability to run like plugins?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It's a fairly complete software system, and it's fairly niche in what it does. It says, this is what I do, and this is what I do well, rather than I'm going to be able to do a whole heap of other different things. Yes? Oh, yeah, so I am. How far away? 27 minutes.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. Yes?
A couple of things. Firstly, how much does this cost?
As I said before, it costs...
Where is the free version?
Free versions on the website, go for trial. Yep.
Secondly, if I import a scene into Maya or something, so my characters have shadows from the light
If you get your characters to react to the view lights, the view lights will cast shadows on view objects and light your other characters, but Maya lights probably won't cast onto a view object. It's not a perfect solution to import into Maya, like you're seeing into Maya, for instance, but it's a much better solution to try and get your character into view. Yep. Any other questions? Yes. As far as I'm aware, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. I think Mac is... Hang on, where is download? And it's got solutions for animation. There we go. So yeah, it's got VUE Extreme is all... Yeah, I think there is definitely Mac versions available, and I think all of them are supported, yes.
If you took a picture of somewhere like Vietnam City, for example,
Yeah.
and put that into,
Guys!
put that into view, could you add stuff and make it look like it was actually a part of the picture you took?
Yeah, if you use the as in if you use the environmental mapping with the photo in the background. Yeah, I've done that. It's quite useful. Actually, I'll show you. Back here, photo and photo manipulation. There you go. My cousin took a picture of his car and he says, "Can you make it look pretty?" So I did.
I guess he kind of fell over after this.
He had it as his Facebook. Please don't tell me that's... Oh, come on, come on.
Just a question.
Yeah?
In that photo
There we go.
in particular, is the reflection of the tree from the original photo or from the tree behind the car?
That reflection of the tree is actually from the picture from the car.
And you just emulated in the background to try and make it
Yeah.
believable.
Yeah, that's essentially what I did. It's just like, hang on, there's a tree there. I'll just put a tree and dump it behind the car to make it look right.
What about the shadow from the car?
The shadow from the car, Photoshop, just a burn tool underneath it.
It looks like well, just below the review mirror.
Yeah.
On the side.
Pardon?
More on the side, like along the side you can see more trees where the camera's back against the mountain.
Yeah. As I said, it's not perfect, but he wasn't paying me, so. Yeah, so you can actually get it looking right. The car itself was in fact just a billboard in the scene just to make it look right. So, and just tweaking it otherwise. But yeah, let's see. Any other questions?
What else is in your photo management?
Let's have a look. That was just photo stuff. Where is it? There's another one. I like that one. That's fun. That was fun to actually do.
What did you use for that?
Photoshop, literally, that was it.
That's the easiest thing to do. Do something like that.
Yeah, but I wanted to do it, so I just did.
It still looks good. I'm not saying it doesn't look good. I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like,
there's a fun one. Yay! And as you can see, back here, and all the background's done in view. Pardon?
you're a level 99 necromancer?
Real question, are you?
Are you a wizard?
Am I technically alive?
Alright guys, any other questions? Looks like I've bored someone to sleep up the back, so I'll let you all go. Alright.